Hello everyone and welcome back to Keefe's Kitchen. Today we're making something that I'm very excited for. So last week, if you saw the video that I did on salsa from Reina Joel, a friend of mine, she recommended that I make, after I make the salsa, I make a traditional Mexican dish called sopes. And so that is what I'm making today. So sopes is a dish typically eaten in Mexico to use leftover food. So what you do is you use maseca, which is nixtamalized corn flour, and you use water to make homemade corn tortillas, but you make them a little thicker and you don't fry them for quite as long, and then you pinch up the sides to make little bowls, and you fill that with your leftover food. So in my case, I'm filling it with refried beans, chicken salsa that I made in the last video. You can check it out. Sour cream, lettuce, I think I said that already, and queso fresco. So I'm really excited for this. Maseca is very inexpensive. I got a huge bag, probably 3 to 5 pounds for maybe $1.29. It's not really expensive. You really don't need anything else to make the sopes, the actual base of a sopes, outside of that corn flour and water. That's it. So you mix them together and make kind of a paste, and then you use that, you fry it in a skillet, and just build. So I'm really excited for this, and hopefully you'll be too. So let's make some sopes.
To make the sopes base, you're going to need 1 cup of masa or maseca corn flour and about 1 cup of room temperature water. So add about a quarter of the water in and begin to mix by hand or with a spoon to start to incorporate the water. And you're going to be adding it in small amounts so that you don't accidentally overhydrate the flour. So just continue to pour in little bits until you reach a texture that is similar to Play-Doh. So you may use the full cup of water, you may not. Just depends on the amount you have. But you'll see that it started to come together and it's no longer powdery and starting to become a nice smooth dough. And one way to test to see if it has enough water is break off a piece, roll it out, and begin to press it with your hands. If you see it crack around the edges, bad. So put it back and add a bit more water in small amounts. And what you're looking for is a nice smooth edge when you press it out like that. So you'll notice it's not really cracking, and that means it'll hold up nicely when it's time to form the actual base of the sopes. So once you get it to the stage you like, make sure to cover it with a damp cloth so that it doesn't dry out while you prepare the skillet to fry. It's me. So I'm going to be cooking my sopes in a cast iron skillet on the stove top, turned to around medium-low heat. Some recipes recommend a little bit higher, others recommend medium. I found medium to medium-low heat to be best for me so that I don't burn anything. So there are 2 ways to form the sopes. First is using a plastic bag and a glass bowl. So take your plastic bag and rip it along the edges and just kind of peel it open, and this will provide a nice non-stick surface for you to place the corn tortilla mixture in between and press down. Unless you have a tortilla press, then all of this is kind of useless, but I do not, so I'm making do with what I've got. So make a small ball of corn flour mixture and place it onto the cutting board on top of one of the sheets of plastic and lay the other sheet down on top. Grab a nice flat glass bowl, you can use a pie dish, and press down. And what you're going for is a disc of dough that's about 1/4 of an inch thick, as you can see. The other way to form the sopes is by hand. So make a ball of the corn mixture and begin to flatten it using your palm and begin to press in a circular motion with your fingers until you reach the desired thickness and size. So this takes a little bit of practice and I'm not very good at it yet, but I ended up using it for most of the sopes because I don't know, I prefer doing it this way. So once you add your sopes to the pan, cook them on medium to medium-low heat for about 2 minutes on that first side. And what you're looking for is a little bit of darkening on the bottom. You don't want it to burn. You don't want it to cook all the way through. You just want it to kind of darken on one side. And then once you've cooked it for that 2 minutes, flip it over and cook it for another minute. So after that initial cook time is up, you'll pull them off and let them cool. And I'm going to add a couple more sopes to the pan, I think just 2 more with this mixture. And then I will show you how to shape the sopes. So here is the final sope shape. Now let me show you how I got there. To form the bowl shape of the sopes, you're going to take the sopes while it's still warm and pinch from the inside towards the outside around in a circle. And you'll see as I'm doing it, I'm pulling that material up and making a little bit of a wall. And it's kind of hot, so be careful. But the idea is you're doing this before it cools fully so that the corn flour is still malleable. So you can form it into those nice sopes shapes, and then you can add them back into the pan to finish cooking for a little bit. So once you've finished cooking all of your sopes initially, I like to pull my pan off the heat so it doesn't get too hot, and we will finish forming the rest of the sopes. And here's just one more demonstration in case the last one was a little fast or not too in focus. Just pinch from the inside towards the out, and you're just going to form that wall and make sure everything stays together. And sometimes if it's a little too high in the center, I like to press it down, but it's as simple as that. So now to finish off the sopes base, we're going to add a little bit more oil to our skillet, and I turned the heat back on to medium-low. And I'm going to add some vegetable oil. I eyeballed about a tablespoon, but you can add a little bit more, a little bit less, depending on how crispy you want your sopes to be. So pour in that tablespoon-ish of vegetable oil and let it come to temperature, then we'll be ready to fry. Once the oil is ready, go ahead and take your sopes and place them in upside down in the oil. And the idea is to fry the top so the top gets nice and crispy, and then you're going to flip them over and fry the bottom to finish the cooking process. So you don't want the sopes to get burned, so keep an eye on them, maybe 2 minutes per side, 3 minutes per side at the most, and keep them moving around a little bit, and you're going to just fry them until they are crispy to your liking, and then we'll be able to construct the final form of the sopes, complete with all the fillings. So after cooking, here is what the sopes look like. You'll notice they've darkened up nicely, not too dark, and I like the way that the bottom darkened up as well. Not too much, but enough to add some flavor. So now it's time to construct the sopes. Begin with the fresh sopes base. Put down a foundation, a nice layer of refried beans. Build on that foundation with some chicken thighs. Add a nice spoonful of salsa on top. Add a dollop of sour cream. a small mountain of lettuce. Sprinkle some queso fresco on top and on the board and the table, and finish it off with a squeeze of lime. And that's it. Your sopes are ready to eat.
All right, so I'm so excited about this. I don't know if you can tell, but the sopes. Now, this is going to be hard to eat without a fork or anything. I have seen plenty of people just pick it up and like this, you know, and just go for it. So that's what I'm going to do. And yeah, I feel like that's the best thing to do. So here we go. Mmm. Okay, well, I think I found out what I'm going to be making for dinner for the rest of my life. It's what I say each week really doesn't change. So the meaning of it's great or it's amazing or it's delicious, make it watered down, you know? But I really, you know, I don't know how else to say it other than it's delicious. It's amazing. It's wonderful. It's great. I love it so much. So you've got tons of elements in it. You got the refried beans, the chicken, all the toppings on their own and combined together. Really great. And then you've got this sopes base, which holds everything in really nicely. Surprisingly so, actually. It kept everything in there. And it's crispy. It's a little bit soft because it's thicker than a corn tortilla. So it doesn't like crisp up or anything like that all the way through. So you get this nice crispy bottom and sides and then kind of a softer interior. It tastes really great. If you've never had your own homemade corn tortillas, it's so simple to do. Like I showed you, just a little bit of corn flour and water, and then you can use lard or whatever to fry it up, and that's it. I mean, it's so simple, so simple. And I mean, it's better than anything that you're going to buy at the supermarket, that's for sure. And this is great. This is fantastic. I'm so excited. Thank you again, Rana Hoel, who turned me on to this recipe. And she said, after she gave me the salsa recipe, she said, you should try to make sopes. I think you would really like them. And I looked it up and I was a little intimidated, but it turns out it's really not too bad. And I'm really excited to continue to make this. And I hope that you make it too. And I'm serious. I say this all the time, but this recipe is really easy to do. Really is. And I honestly think it'll change the way that you view Mexican food if you make your corn tortillas yourself, and especially if you make sopes. So I'm going to go finish this, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next week on Keefe's Kitchen. See you later.